Today, we are remembering the victims and the survivors of the FedEx mass shooting. It was 1 year ago today. A gunman killed 8 people and injured 5 others.
It ended up being the worst mass shooting in Indiana history. And tonight, Karen joins us again in studio to talk about some of the emotional assistance that's provided to the families that experienced such tremendous loss and fear that night, Karen.
Yeah, I mean, and even the air that night was just filled with this thick, dark, gray cloud of just grief. I mean, I was there that night like so many other reporters covering this. And in the early morning hours, that's when many families were waiting at that Holiday Inn just down the road from the FedEx ground facility. They were waiting in anticipation to hear something from their loved ones. And IMPD had chaplains from those from the Victim Assistance Unit at the hotel. They stayed with family members for several hours, about 6 hours, letting them know that they were there for them.
You have to be comfortable with silence. There's nothing that we can do to say, there's nothing we can say, nothing we can do to fix this. And sometimes you just have to sit with people. We call it the ministry of presence, just to be with them. And, you know, just to check in with them and let them know, hey, we're here. If you want to talk, we're here. If you want to be by yourself.
And that was Lisa Brown with the IMPD Victim Assistance Unit. She said she could sense their pain and their relief that night into the early morning hours, because as the sun began to rise, the number of families began to shrink. And that meant those families who were left knew the outcome would not be a good one. Now, Lisa Brown, she did say that she does remain in contact with many of those victims' families today, just to let them know again that she, as well as that Victim Assistance Unit, will be there for them whenever they need them. I
know, we just remember that scene of all those families waiting in that hotel lobby, and just one by one seeing that the odds were not in their favor as the hours passed. Yeah, it was tough. Karen, thank you. Well, the families of 5 of the 8 victims in the FedEx shooting are now suing FedEx and the company that it hired for security. The families say the company should have done more to prevent the violence there.
It hurts. It's painful. It sucks that we have to go through this when this whole incident was 100% preventable. Even people that aren't in the security field knows that this should have been prevented.
The families are now asking for an undisclosed amount of money, but they say they also hope the lawsuit will force change so that something like this doesn't ever happen again.
Hundreds of people gathered in prayer and remembrance of the 8 people killed last weekend.
A prayer service held at the Sikh temple that's located on Southeastern Avenue. 4 of the FedEx victims were members of the Sikh community here locally in Indy.
It's a faith that believes in kindness and in being with one another.
And today, the Sikh Coalition also released a statement which reads in part that it's worked with the community over the past year to heal and to move forward, and that it's inspired by the community's resiliency.
We've also learned that the Sikh Coalition is sponsoring 8 trees that will be planted to honor those lives lost in the FedEx shooting. These trees will be planted during the Great Indy Cleanup.